We are looking forward to your remarks.
Yeah, it's difficult to respond to such great scholars on their own book. Though here I'm not to defend the book, and fortunately, not a big question or a harsh comment has been given by any of the speakers, though I was awaiting. So that, and somehow the theme of the book, the quality of the language, method of the presentation, all these things are already discussed, exhaustively discussed. One thing is missing. And this is the very primary question. There are thousands unique titles are already published on Indian knowledge system, theory of Indian epistemology, Indian civilization, so on. Then what is the need of such a new book, which is very much introductory only? This is not a research work. Even this is not a speculation, but it's a panoramic survey of the Indian knowledge system. As Professor Padhi very rightly expressed, this is not a knowledge system, and this is not a knowledge tradition. As so far we have to understand the Indian society, Indian cultural milieus, we should be clear that this society is a knowledge-centric society. From very beginning of the civilization till date, the Indian society is a knowledge-centric society, so that this society is having a particular knowledge culture. All the disciplines which are developed from Harappan civilization till now is the emergence of this knowledge culture. These all are the product of a particular knowledge system, and that knowledge system is not based on the authority of the book. This knowledge system, this knowledge tradition, and I used to say, in Hindi or Sanskrit, I used to say the Jnana Sanskriti, knowledge culture. And just similar to that book, I published another book in Hindi, and the very title of that book is the Bharat Ki Jnana Sanskriti, the knowledge culture of Bharata. So, this is the only most different characteristic of Indian culture is that is the knowledge-centric culture. You will not find anywhere the folk. The term lok is everywhere used, but that is not the folk. The lok is whichever is the perceivable, which could be perceived, whichever is in the access of our sense organs and other modes and methods of the knowledge, that all is the lok. That is not limited to the living creatures and particularly the human beings. So that this book tried to explore a new vision to understand Indian knowledge system. And that is the knowledge system to see all the things with a holistic approach. Another one thing we have to understand, there is a very important premise in each and every knowledge exercise in Indian culture. Any knowledge, any discipline is a futile business if that does not fulfill a particular purpose. So the ultimate purpose is very much clear, that the moksha, that is the liberation, that is the blissful life of human being and all the loka. This was one thing. Another thing, whenever we started to talk about the Afro-Asian perspective and emergence of the different possible optional human cultures for the survival in a humanitarian way. So usually we say that this is the era when everywhere the movement to decolonization is going on. But I tried to avoid this very word decolonization in this very book. So the genesis of book is that. But I have tried to avoid this particular, because decolonization is only possible when we have an optional culture and civilization. If the Western civilization, Eurocentric culture is the destiny of the entire world, then there is no need to utter a single sentence regarding the decolonization of mind and culture. So that I have tried to indicate the possibilities of the optional culture and not optional civilization for mankind, not only optional, but the best possible civilization to safeguard this earth, this cosmos, and for well-being and blissful life of human being, not limited to human being, but all the creatures, living and non-living. So that this was the objective behind this. And Dr. Lucy is working with me on another book, which is on decolonization, the decolonization of mind through Indian philosophical applied methods and with an Afro-Asian perspective. One thing I want to introduce, Lucy is a very distinct scholar of the Indian philosophy. She perceived his first PhD in Paninian grammar.
Wow.
Then after he decided to go read Mimamsa. And nowadays she is working on the Mimamsa and the very core field of the Mimamsa. So that she knows more Sanskrit than me. She knows more Indian philosophy than me. And being a master degree holder in the material science, she knows more scientific methods of exploration and research more than me. And this book, the language of this book, definitely good only because of the Lucy. She gone through the every line, she corrected, and ultimately it's a small but nicely presented book. But this is not the importance of the book. I like to say, I have pointed out something whenever we meet, that what is the need of these type of the books. These are the of the researches. As Lucas mentioned, this is the time when applicability and practicability of the philosophy is in question. The peoples are trying to use philosophy for the counseling. That's a nice method. But counseling of whom? Counseling of mind or brain? Counseling of human being or counseling of an intelligent being? These are the questions which should be dealt. And as so far the European philosophical streams and continental philosophy is concerned, they cannot resolve these basic questions, which are the questions, eternal questions of the philosophy. We can resolve the problems created and problems resolved through the AI. Because entire thought process, which is Eurocentric, is based on the very first principle of Archimedes. This entire cosmos is a mechanical construct. Vice versa, as so far the Indian knowledge culture is concerned, here this cosmos is not a mechanical construct, but this cosmos is a emergence and manifestation of the consciousness only. So that whenever we start with this philosophical assumption, this world is conscious, this world is manifestation of the consciousness, this world is construct of the consciousness and conscious efforts, then only we can create an optional civilization which could be capable to safeguard our existence and create more bliss. But this is not limited to that only. I have a 35-year experience of teaching philosophy. And I'm fortunate that I taught Western philosophy through Sanskrit. I'm the only person who have opportunity to do this. And in this whole journey, what I felt in my entire journey, one question remained central to my all work. That is, was that is truly mean to be free? In an era where our maps are independent, but our minds often remain tethered to external paradigms. When I sat down to write Understanding Indian Knowledge System, I oftenly think whenever we explore the foundation of the Indian knowledge, intellectual heritage, whenever we try to explore, it was not just mere documentation of the past. If it is merely documentation of the past, then what is the need to document, redocument, reorganize, represent the same thing, which have only historical value? And another one is decolonization is merely an political movement? Another thing, if it is not political movement, but decolonization is a knowledge-centric movement, culture-centric movement, then is our mind is ready to accept this? These are the basic questions. I have just tried in this book that to curb the contemporary problems, to meet the challenges every day we are facing here and there. This is not limited with any single part of the globe. This is the common and universal phenomena. Everywhere the tension, the conflicts, there is conflict for the existence. That is the conflict for the supremacy. There is the conflict for the power. Then where is the place for the human values? So that in place of creating a political structure, whether that is indigenous or that is colonial, we have to create an alternative culture and civilization based on the love, compassion, understanding, cooperation, and coexistence. This is the beauty of the Indian knowledge culture, where the primary question is not to gain the power, acquire the power, rule the people, capture the lands, but ultimate goal of all discourse of the knowledge, all exercises in different technological fields of the knowledge, the different domain of the knowledge, just to make life more and more happier, pleasant, and ultimately the blissful. And this goal only can save this cosmos. Dr. Theodore is here. He is the one among the renowned scholars of the Bhagavad Gita, Indian philosophy, Indian ethics, and strategy management, which is described in Indian epics. I hope he will agree with me that this is the time when we have to think with this.